NXT, WWE acquired a new talent, a new superstar for the women's division. And I gotta say, oh my good God in heaven above, I didn't see this one coming. Last week on AEW, there was reports that Mariah May could possibly interfere in Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm's big old match. It didn't happen. Mariah May's name was not even mentioned throughout the entirety of the feud, for promos, anything, which is crazy because obviously Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May are so damn close. And what was the reason? Because on that same day, Mariah May's contract in AEW had ended. She was gone. She had run her contract down. She'd left AEW. 1 week later, Mariah May, the Glamour, would end up getting talked about like, oh, she's going to turn up at Evolution. She's going to turn up at SummerSlam. She's going to turn up at Crown Jewel, maybe. Christ above, I don't think anybody expected her to turn up last night on NXT, because that was what happened. Jacy Jayne was having a decent promo after obviously winning the NXT Women's Championship in shocking fashion last week. Absolutely shocking fashion. I cannot believe Jacy Jayne pinned Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously, there was a lot of distractions last week, but she did pin Stephanie Vaquer. Lainey Reed would come out and say, "You are the most beatable champion of them all," which I feel is harsh to say to Jacy Jayne, but it's also kind of true because no one had her beaten Stephanie, and she had to do it with a lot of help. And then the lights went out. And when the lights go out, normally that means something crazy is about to happen. And not once in my mind did I think, oh my God, it could be Mariah May. I had stayed offline for the entirety of the day, so I didn't know if there were any rumours or reports that Mariah May was going to be coming to NXT tonight. Just like that night when Ricky Starks left AEW, and the next damn day he was in NXT, I was again shocked because I didn't see this coming. AEW have lost some fantastic talents to NXT. Ethan Page, Shawn Spears. I know people don't like his gimmick, but he's a great wrestler. Obviously, Stephanie Vaquer. Technically, she wasn't AEW, but she did wrestle against Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. Julia, again, another one that wrestled against Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks, or whatever you want to call her these days. And now, you got Ricky Starks, and finally, another one from AEW. And it's Mariah May. Mariah May turned up in NXT last night. The crowd went crazy. Theme didn't hit. The spotlight was just on her like it was in AEW. Mariah May is in NXT. Now, the only worry that I have, and a lot of people have online, we didn't get her name last night. There was no confirmation of what Mariah May's name in WWE was going to be. Which is very worrying because WWE's names are normally shit. They're normally terrible. They normally ruin their character. She's not going to be called Mariah May. Now, weirdly, Ethan Page was called Ethan Page. And that was what his name was in AEW. Ricky Starks was called Ricky Saints. Malachi Black was back to Aleister Black. Jade Cargill, still called Jade Cargill. Shawn Spears is still called Shawn Spears. So why are we getting a name change for Mariah May? I don't quite know, unless AEW own the rights to her name. Which, if that's the case, fair enough. But people who were excited for it. Julia was the first one to comment on it and saying, crazy to see her back. Mariah May and Julia have had a match before, and I can say this easily, bloody give me it again. Give me them two in a ring one more time. How long do I think Mariah May is going to be down in NXT? I don't know. I think Mariah May wins the NXT Women's Championship, has a small run with it, and gets up to the main roster. Maybe the Royal Rumble next year. Who knows? There's a lot of people wanting to see Mariah May face. Liv Morgan, Charlotte Flair, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Bayley, Bianca Belair, a Becky Lynch, a Lyra Valkyria versus Mariah May feud, Chelsea Green, The main roster could use someone like Mariah May, but the main roster has now got people like Julia, Stephanie Vaquer. So maybe Mariah May and Jordan Grace are going to have a little feud. But Mariah May in NXT isn't the surprise for me. Now, in 2019, Mariah May actually did try out for WWE and she wasn't successful because WWE was her home. She wanted to be a WWE superstar. She wasn't successful, so she went into AEW. And she had a really good run down in AEW. She obviously won the Owen Hart tournament. She then turned heel on Toni Storm. And then she had probably one of the greatest women's feuds of all time against Toni Storm. And became the Women's World Champion in AEW at All In. She held the belt for quite a while, then dropped it to Toni Storm. And then would drop it her final match against Toni Storm in a street fight with the symbol at the end. And that was it for Mariah May in AEW. No, Mariah's on the mic. Skills are great. I think she's a phenomenal wrestler. So I've got a lot of potential with her. I've seen a lot of her matches. There's a lot of WWE fans online going, ouch, she's a team with Tiffany Stratton. By the way, her versus Tiffany, give me that. She's not a team with Tiffany Stratton. I can say this with full force. She's better than Tiffany Stratton. Her match against Toni Storm at All In, one of my favourite matches of all time for a women's division. Her match against Toni Storm in that awesome street fight with the end, one of my favourite matches again of all time. The feud was phenomenal. It was great. Now, the only issue I've got with it was how her career in AEW did end. Because Toni Storm won the title annoyingly at that by just a flipping roll up on Mariah May. And then they had the fantastic cinematic ending. That was perfect. However, it was just a bit weird that AEW never mentioned her with the whole Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm feud. Do I think AEW's lost a good one? 100%. I think NXT have gained a phenomenal talent. I feel bad for Jacy Jayne because I don't think Jacy Jayne's Women's Championship reign is going to last very long. Mariah May could even take it at the Great American Bash, and I don't think people would complain at all. Mariah May has that star talent, that potential to just come in, whip a title off somebody, and there was a mad reaction for her last night. But NXT is starting to show that maybe they are going to challenge with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I'd love now to see a Survivor Series with all three brands in there. So we could get Mariah May versus Rhea Ripley, Mariah May versus Tiffany, Mariah May versus Bianca Belair, all that stuff. It'd be so cool. But this is the report though. Mariah May is set to get a new name. Just when all parties have agreed about it. Just call yourself Mariah May. Or the Glamour. Call yourself the Glamour Mariah May. I don't know. Don't change your name. Mariah the Glamour? Is that bad? Probably it is. Who knows? But Mariah May is in NXT. And I want to know your thoughts on Mariah May down in NXT. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm pleasantly surprised that she turned up last night on a random show. The crowd reaction was crazy. And yeah, Mariah May, the Glamour. Is she about to be the next NXT Women's Champion? I think so. But thank you all for watching. And let's see what happens next in NXT. Bye for now.